This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. And welcome to my review of the Daily Bugle. This is a set from, I believe it was 2021. And you're going to hear some noise of construction in the background. I'm sorry about that, but there's no other chance I'm going to get to record this with enough daylight and enough time to record it because this is going to be a long review. I will also be looking at the Daily Bugle in sections up here, because if you take a look, that is the Bugle, and this is where I typically do the reviews. That's not even the top of it. You can see part of it, so I'll be looking at it in sections. I'll look at the whole thing with all the figures put on it at the end, and I'll be looking at it from the top floor down, so I'm able to just move stuff around a little more easily. So starting off, I'm going to look at the 25 minifigures to this set. And I'll start off with the heroes, the civilians, and then finally the villains in it. The first minifigure is Blade. He has pretty simple jacket print, swords at the back, obviously no back head printing, sunglasses on, and he's a pretty cool figure to have, especially since he has a movie coming out, and so far this is the only way you could get that figure. The next figure is Spider-Ham. He has his little web piece. And in case you're wondering, this piece is attached. It's not a little stud you could place on, which I thought it was when I saw pictures of the figure. He has a little Spider-Man symbol on the front and back. Yeah, it looks like a pretty cool figure. The third figure is Gwen Stacy's, I believe it's Ghost Spider. Pretty simple printing on the back. No back head printing, so you could do a figure like this. And yeah, she has a cool little web design, which is repeated with the next figure that I'm going to look at, which is Miles Morales. And he's also a pretty simple figure. He has this black and gray dual molded legs. He has a little hoodie and jacket on. And the back side is a Spider-Man symbol on it. And has a little more of a complex head print, so if you could take it off, you could have a more regular Miles minifigure. Going on to the next one, I believe this is Firestar. And with it, she's a pretty simple figure. She has a pretty basic print on the front and back, and is the first figure with two head prints. One's a little more angry, and the other one's a lot more happy. The next figure is one a lot of people would buy this set for, and that figure is Daredevil. And Daredevil is a really cool figure. He has some pretty nice details in him. He has a Daredevil logo, cool back printing, and yeah, he's a really cool figure to have. And although he was not the main reason I wanted to buy this set, the main reason I wanted to buy this set is because the Bugle looks amazing. He's definitely a cool addition to have into your collection. And the same goes for a few other figures like Black Cat. She's a pretty cool figure also. She has a whip and a diamond, a smile on one side, and a more angry expression on the back. And it's a pretty cool fur print on there, although they could have put the fur piece on. It wouldn't have been able to work with the hair. Maybe have to make a new one, and I think this figure looks fine like that. Another really cool figure that they included is the Punisher. And with it, the Punisher has not been made before, and I'm kind of surprised he was, since he's such a mature character. It's characters like him and Deadpool that really surprised me have been made in Lego. And with it, he has one gun over here, which has a little magazine. The other one, which is the normal one, a smile on one side and an injured and more angry expression on the other. The final figure of the heroes is Spider-Man, and with it, this Spider-Man is in a few sets, but looks really cool with his dual molded legs, printed arms. The Spider-Man suit looks really cool, and the head looks really nice. Yeah, it's a cool figure. He's in a lot of sets, not exclusive to this one, but still is a really nice figure to have. Looking at the next section, which is the largest of them, we have the civilians. And with them, I don't remember everyone's name, so please forgive me if I get them wrong. But the first is Peter Parker. He has a bag, a pretty basic jacket on, a pair of blue legs, a smile on one side, and a more scared expression on the other. And with it, you could also, if you wanted, switch it out to have Peter Parker unmasked in the set. One of the best figures in it is J. Jonah Jameson. He has a pen. He has a pretty great expression on the side with a smile, and an even better one with his mouth webbed shut over here. He's another really cool figure to have. And there is a J. Jonah Jameson that I sort of have in my collection. It used to belong to someone else, but it's so cool to have him. And then I believe this is Benny the cab driver. Pretty simple figure. He's cool, but nothing really to brag about. Just a cool little civilian character to add on. Sorry about the jump cut, I got interrupted. It's been up a few times because this is a long video and there's a lot of people at home right now. So with it, we have Gwen Stacy as the next minifigure. Pretty basic minifigure. I think it's just reusing a lot of parts, but it's still cool to add her in. And one of the things I want to say about the minifigures is I think that they probably could have included at least two more, being a minifigure for Miles without the suit on, and one for Mary Jane. And if they wanted to, they could also include a few others, like they could have included Matt Murdock, but they didn't need to do that. I just feel like those two are pretty important Spider-Man characters that could have been included in at least Secret Identity and one of his main love interests. The next minifigure is Aunt May. And it's cool to have an Aunt May minifigure. I think she's only been in a few sets. They're usually more expensive sets, although not as expensive as this. On one side, she has a smile. She also has a tray of cookies and a scared expression on the other side. And I lost a tray of cookies. I'm going to pause for a second so I can get that. I'm not going to find that cookie tray right now. I'll find it later. The next figure is, I believe, Ron Barney. I think that's the one name I might have got wrong. And looking at him, he's another simple figure. I don't really know him from Spider-Man. Just because I need someone who works at the Bugle. And yeah, he's a cool figure, but it's nothing special again. Not sure if the face print's exclusive, but yeah, it's an interesting figure. We then have, I believe his name is Ben Urich. And with it, pretty simple print with the glasses on one side with a smile, and we're found on the other side. Again, I don't really know this figure, who his character is, but he's cool. And we have Robbie Robertson, who is the second in command at the Bugle behind Jameson. It's a pretty cool figure. He has, I think this might be old Lando's head, but it looks like more of a frown on one side and more of a smile on the other side. I'm like 90% sure this is old Lando's head, but he's still a cool figure to have. We now have Amber Grant. I don't know really about this figure either. Pretty simple figure. I think she's supposed to work the newsstand that comes in it. She might also be a reporter or something, I'm not too sure, but yeah, she has both sides. Smile on one side. More of a concerned expression, I'd say, on the back side. And yeah, that's a cool figure to have too, but nothing too interesting. Finally, one of the civilians is Betty Brant, and she's the secretary there. Pretty simple print with a smile on one side and a more kind of nervous, angry expression on the back. Now to look at the ones that are almost all complicated to put on here. We have the villains that make up the Sinister Six in this set. The first is Venom. There's a pretty cool back piece on him. Has two of these tentacles to represent his symbiote powers. If you look at the front side and the back side, he's pretty simple, but it looks pretty cool. Our next figure is Carnage. Carnage is a pretty similar design, a little different. Still looks really cool and has a really cool piece like this, with it being a lot more of a complicated symbiote tentacle. The backside has a lot more printing, and yeah, he looks like a really cool figure. A cool one in terms of detail is Doc Ock, although he's a pain in the butt to build, since these arms all have to be attached individually. And with him, you have to make sure you don't mess up on the counts, because I originally did that and I had to take some pieces off the arms to make sure he had the arms all equal lengths. A smile on one side, frown on the back. But it's really cool that he's in his Spider-Man PS4 outfit, besides the hair, which is not what he has in that. He's bald at the top. The next figure is one of the ones I actually have never had before, is a Green Goblin minifigure. I've never really got the sets he's in, but yeah, he's cool. He has this giant smile on one side. He's angry on the back side. He has a little sack. And the Goblin printing looks really cool. I'll also take a look at his glider in a moment. The last of the normal figures is Mysterio. Looks really cool with the little orb piece on his head. I'm glad they have a normal cape for him, because I don't really like those 4+ ones. I don't think they look good. And yeah, he's another cool figure to have. The last figure I'm going to look at, which I'm not going to look at on the stand, is Sandman with his build. With it, you can take him off of it and have him on his basic body piece. I don't like that they use the angry clone head for this. I think they could have used a lot better head, which I'm going to find a better one to use. But yeah, I'm going to put him on here. And this figure looks really cool with how he's able to have this really detailed sand base with a lot of stone and stuff broken into it. Where it looks like he's making a sand tornado to kind of fly and attack the characters. Now to look at the three kind of side builds of it, things that you could add on, although everything but the taxi could be attached to the Bugle. We'll take a look at first the Goblin's glider. A really small, simple, but cool build for the Green Goblin's glider. It doesn't have, blades or anything too complicated, but it's a really simple, practical version of the glider. We're going to take the Green Goblin, place him on, and there's a little thing you can attach him to, so he's flying out of an exploding window, which I'll look at later, but I'll just look at the glider itself, and it looks really cool. Although it could have been cool if it had either stickers or a print here to make up the front. Sorry about the jump cut again, I got interrupted once again. So I'm going to take a look at the Spider Buggy. It's a pretty simple build. I think it looks decent. It's not amazing, but it's meant to go on the side of the Bugle, but I don't think it looks amazing there. I think it would look just better to keep it just kind of normally. It would look normal and have it on the street. Although you can place it on the side of the building, and I'll show what it looks like in a moment. The final build is the taxi. Really simple build, using some of the older pieces, although it would have been cool if they used some of the new ones that they use for like Speed Champions and some of the other sets. I think that looks a lot more impressive. And it could have been a cooler cab that you could have fit characters in a little better. But you could open up, put 2 figures in here, one driving and one as a passenger. And it also doesn't snap on too well. So yeah, that's a little problem. Also, I'm going to be wearing a mask, kind of a hat to disguise my face for the rest of the video, since the Bugle is extremely reflective. You can comfortably fit 2 figures. Backside is and front side look cool. And yeah, it's a cool part to the set. So I'm going to have a jump cut as I first clear off all the figures, and then go and set the Bugle up and start moving pieces over. There'll be a break between each section so I can go and move the pieces over, so I'll be right back. The first part of it I'm going to look at is the Bugle's roof and top floor. This is probably one of the most problematic parts of the set, because both this water tower and this radio tower are extremely loose on it and can be easily knocked off. And with it, although it does look pretty cool, it is once again extremely fragile. Going around and looking at it, you have this Daily Bugle sign, which is really loose. You could easily knock this off. And moving to the side, you can see the little thing for Firestar to fly. Really cool little things of details. The back side, you have the back of the water tower. You can see a Miles and Green Goblin graffiti on there. And moving to this side, you just get another view of it. Yeah, it looks really cool, but this part is extremely fragile once again. Slightest hit could, knock something off. It's also kind of a pain in the butt to align it back onto the roof. And with it, I need to make sure I push down pretty hard on it, just so I can make sure it doesn't fall off. And yeah, that's just a small little problem with the set. Not massive, but just a problem I have. I don't love that part of it. Moving on to the top floor of the Bugle. As you see, this piece is loose. It needs to be attached to the bottom part for it to be securely attached, although I could keep it over where it's supposed to be. I'll go to 360 look at it. You can see it with the Daily Bugle sign on top. Moving it to the side, you have 2 parts of the fire escape. Going all the way to the back, you have the Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson sign. A small little bird on top of it. I'm guessing it's supposed to be an air conditioning unit. And on the side, you have the spider buggy climbing up. And moving on to the inside, you have J. Jonah Jameson's office and the reception desk for Betty Brant. So with it, I could take little parts out to show them individually. The desk has an email from Eddie Brock and a little keyboard. I could take it and place it back in. This is one of the more secure ones, since it attaches to a full stud piece and isn't intended to be taken off much. You can then move over to this seat where you can just take Betty and place her on it and have her sitting. Over here we have Jameson's desk, which I just had a stud that didn't come off with it. And with it, he has an email to Peter Parker saying you're fired. A newspaper that says reward for photos of Spider-Man. And a keyboard. He has another seat for him to sit on. Basically the exact same build. So you can take Jameson, sit him down, place him in his office, And then that should be the back stud. Place his desk in front of him so he could be sitting there working. Well, I'm going to take the desk out again for a second. We're going to take a look at his cabinet, which I could grab. You can see he has this little thing with stones, rock with stones in it, 2 awards, a coffee cup, and 2 empty drawers. It's not really meant to be taken out either. It's attached to a more secure piece at the back. And it's just supposed to be background decoration, although we probably could have put the extra pen in there if you really wanted to. You could take it and put it here, and you have a spot for someone like Peter to stand there and be yelled at by Jameson. Yeah, going back to the front side, it has this little area for characters to grab onto to be kind of swinging on the side of the building. Looks pretty cool, but I'll show that when I have the entire building shown to the side. So yeah, I'm going to move on to the next part, so it'll be a quick cut for that. Moving on to the next floor, we have one that actually has the piece secure. This is Spider-Man or Peter Parker's office. And the copy room with it, you have a pretty elaborate part here with this destroyed window. And with it, you could pop it off. This one actually is secure. The one problem with the windows is it's all these pieces which are kind of flimsy, so they could come loose. And with it, as you can see, there's these little pieces here where you could attach these tiles in, so this is a lot more secure, so it could hold up all this additional stuff. Plus, you place the Green Goblin on his glider here, so he's flying out of Peter's office after attacking him. And with it, you have a pretty simple design over here. You also have this sort of meme moment where you can take Spider-Man, place him at the desk, and after you have him there, he's sitting there with a picture next to him. But Spidey does kind of go, well, at least when I put him up on a different level. You'll see that when I ultimately have it set up. But yeah, with it, you can take some of the stuff out. Once again, you could take out the desk, although this one's a lot more secure. Not really meant to be moved, so I'm not going to do it. But yeah, it's just a simple desk with a little phone on it. You could take Peter, sit him down. He does fit with the bag on it because I was curious if he did or didn't. And place him. Oh, it was a little annoying to do it from the backside. I didn't pull off correctly. It's probably going to be a little more loose since he has the bag on. Here at the desk, you can see from the inside he has a little sticky note board there. And you also have this little area over here. We have some boxes. You have a copier here. You have a stack of newspapers right next to this cabinet, which is, again, has nothing in it, but it has Peter's camera and a pizza box on it. And if we grab this, we have a different news, one being the conspirator talking about alien abductions. There's also a spider over here and a spider web up here. And if I just take this stuff out, you can also see there's a door back there, which you're probably wondering what it's leading to, because why would there be a door on a skyscraper? But you'll see what that leads to on the next level. There's also what I heard to mention on that, an elevator that's set up, although obviously you can't ride it because it's right next to the thing. Going to the side, once again, it has one of these little stairs, fire escapes. Although with it on this one, you actually have to have this little piece here. I'm going to be moving it around because this is right up against this display case I have for my Death Star, which obviously is taller than it since I showed you the height of it before. And with it, I'm moving this to the front, although that's where it's supposed to be, so I kept it on there for now. And on the back side, you have a little light here, an opening there, and you can see the back side of Peter's office. And yeah, with it, when you take this, put it back on, it looks pretty cool, and I like that this is the one part of the building where you actually do have the ability to have it secured, because this is where the goblin is. Would probably fall off because the other parts aren't extremely secure, since they're only resting on 2 studs. Oh, they're secure enough. So let's move on to the next level. Looking at the second floor, which is probably the most visually impressive interior, we have, I think it's like the news bullpen, and with it, it has this pretty cool design here. Look at the outside first for this one. It has one thing where it says, well, I'm going to pull it off just so you can read it a little better. Earlier today, breaking villains promise to stop being bad guys. Can they be trusted? You have this. It's a larger version of the screen that was in Jameson's office, where it says just the facts. Clone epidemic out of control. Dr. Connors, Professor Warren, and the Scarlet Spider. And says the Spider-Man to blame. This is reference to the infamous clone saga. Moving to the side, you can also see there's this vote Osborne for mayor. And, oh, that was another figure I kind of wish they included in it. Norman Osborn would be cool. Also, Abrak and maybe even Cletus Cassidy could have been cool too, but not complaining too much. Looking at it, going to the side, you go to the back where it has an area for the elevator. Glass windows again. And yeah, some of these things are a little loose back here. You have another fire escape, but this one actually has the ability to lower it down to ground level. And you keep it secured up there. Moving back to the front, I can pull this off, or you take a look inside. Before I do that, up here is a little balcony area, and this is why there's a door on the previous level. So you can go out here and just have some figures standing back there if they want. So yeah, if we take a look at in here, all these desks are secure besides, I think, this. And this one's secure also. So I'm just going to take a look at this. Kind of all set in here so I don't have to moving stuff around. There's a water cooler all the way to the back with a bottle next to it. There's the law times over here. And this one I can actually remove pretty easily. And it says Nelson Murdoch win big lawsuit. And it has little pictures of both the figures, although neither of them exist in Lego. Then moving on, there's a little bucket here, probably for like a janitor to clean up, although they don't have one in here. There's a bunch of newspaper articles, computers, other things on the inside. So you can kind of take a look at it. It's not too easy to see, but it all looks pretty cool. And there's a little desk back there. It's really hard to see that one. But yeah, it looks cool there. You can also take some of the figures and set them up at the different desks. For example, you could have, I think it was Ben over here. I think it was Ben, or it was something like that. No, this isn't Ben. I don't remember this guy's name. I can place him over here. I could go and fix this little coffee machine with the donut trays. And you could take Robbie and place him at the other desk. Don't really mess around with the back desks because it's so far back there. I don't want to be messing around there. And yeah, you can just take him, sit him up, and place him at his seat to be working. Yeah, that's the last of the levels that are the ground. So we'll take a look at the ground level, and then finally look at the set as a whole. Okay, now moving on to the ground level. It's a pretty big part of it. Since this is the base for the entire thing, it's made to fit in with all the modular sets, although I think this is spaced out wrong. If you want to connect it to a modular, you have to move it over, although I think the Sanctum set might have a fix for it and is meant to attach over here, whereas the smaller gap. But yeah, moving on to it, it has one of these little jumpers up here so you can put a figure on it. There's a fire hydrant here, these two little flower designs here, which are the same, just rotated around. This newsstand, which is that. I'm going to pull it the base off just so you can take a look at the inside. It has these little tool clips to these little pieces here. Yeah, there's an I Heart New York City. I think it says New York, a New York City postcard, and a thing with Wilson Fisk on it, which is really cool. And then you can just take a figure. It's easier to put a figure in like this. Place them at the base. As long as you're placing them in correctly. It's kind of hard to see for me. And then you put the newsstand up around them. And that's just simpler because it's just a lot more annoying to try and fit them in like this, especially with you being able to kind of knock it loose pretty easily. Moving to the side, you can see the side of the newsstand with a little air conditioning unit. Barrel here and two of these connectors. Over here you have two dumpsters, which one of them has 3 cans of soda in them. And the other one has an old hot dog and some grapes in them. Over here, there's another bird here. An exit sign with the one that says Eddie is here, and there's a goblin symbol on it. It could open up and lead into the lobby. There's a hidden backpack, which is an Easter egg to the Spider-Man games. And finally, move into this side. There is a removable wall, so it looks like someone attacked. There's also some boxes, and you can sort of see inside. And with that, I'm going to take a look at the inside in only a moment, but I really do need to just pause this for a moment because some personal things to take care of quickly. Moving to the interior, there's a few cool things. There's like a sliding door here. And I kind of have to angle it up because there isn't a great way to look in. I'll also take off this little area here so we can get a better look at the inside. Now, inside from here, you can see there's a little Morbius Easter egg in there. You can see the interior a little bit, but it's not super easy to see since it is the floor that you can't really remove the wall here. Yeah, there's a few things in here. There's one as a soda machine. Pretty simple, but it looks pretty cool. Taking it, I can place it back in. There's also a newspaper stand, whereas the No Crime, No Thanks to Spider-Man on there. And with that, I'll place it back in. There's also a thing of seats. I'm not going to pull them off. But you can take a look at those. 3 seats for people to wait. And there's a security desk over here, which I'm also not going to pull out. Yeah, it's a pretty simple design there, but it looks pretty cool still. And the door is a little annoying to slide in and out. Also, there's this cool little checkered pattern out here. Yeah, it looks nice. And yeah, it's a pretty cool set. But as you give me a moment just to get that final cut in so I could go and fully look at this set fully assembled and what it looks like. And here's about the best view I can give you of the Bugle fully in frame. And with it, I'm going to zoom in on the different parts so you can take a look at it with it fully built. You can take a look at the bottom where I have some of the figures battling down there, going up You can see what the explosion looks like in the middle of the building, what the top looks like with it fully extended, and just about how tall it is. And with it, it's a really cool set. I definitely recommend getting it if you have the money. The set's recently gone up to $350, but I would definitely recommend getting it. And if you're just curious, around here's where the Death Star reaches its full height. So it's a lot taller than this head, although I think it has less pieces than it. Still, it's a really cool set. Definitely recommend getting it if you have the money, and I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.